All right, Resolve 21 is out, and there's a lot of differences between the free and the paid version. It's still $2.95. We want to show you some workarounds. All right, first off, Studio exports up to 32K. But basically, 4K is going to be good enough, especially if you're shooting on something high res and the quality is already pretty good. If you export in 4K, it looks plenty good. Now, performance as far as H.264 and H.265. And because the free version is a bit limited to your CPU and the Studio is the GPU version, it plays back a lot better with some of these other professional codecs, ProRes and things like that. What you want to do is transcode. So you can use a thing like Shutter Encoder right here, and this will let you transcode the video into DNx HD, and it works. And it'll basically play back just as smooth if you shot on these other kind of resolutions. All right, another one is noise reduction. There isn't any inside of the free version, but you can also download Neat Video or Shutter Encoder. They have a couple versions. So you just run it through that for processing. Magic Mask. Let's grab this, and let's say we wanted to isolate this character here. You can grab Magic Mask, click him, and essentially he's being isolated. Now, you can do this on your own with Power Windows. So let's just show you one way to do that. I have Sharpen on this node here, and as you can see, he's highlighted. So I'm going to reset this node grade. Now, if you wanted to do this, you can just use a good old-fashioned power window here. So I'll reset. We'll go to our power window. You could use a circular version if you wanted. So if we wanted a spotlight in here, and let's say we didn't have AI noise reduction or something, we can grab this power window, move to our tracker, track it, and it does a pretty nice job of staying on your subject. And now if we wanted to grab this and sharpen it, I could just look up sharpen here, just a regular free sharpen. And now we have some control over what's inside this window here. If we zoom in a bit more, we can see we have the sharpen amount, which isolates it to the window. Of course, this footage isn't the greatest, but you get the idea. So that's one workaround you can do. Now, another problem that the free version and the studio version is this film grain. You can try using the film grain and it's going to be locked out. What you can do here, I actually have a paid version called Dehancer Pro, which gives a nice bunch of film grain. I've done a video on that before, but let's say you don't have that. You can actually go to a site like here on Pexels. This video is just called Gray Dots on Screen. And if we play it back, it just looks like this. Almost like noise, which is similar to what film grain's doing. But I downloaded that and I have it over this clip here. So I just brought it into my timeline. If we grab this clip, and I have it on overlay at about 13%, but if we just bring it in normal, you can see it's just heavy-handed and actually have the opacity down, but it ended up looking like that. So what I ended up doing is switch mode to overlay and just bring it down to taste, and you can get a pretty film-like look without having to have the film grain plugin. Another one is voice isolation. It says limited for the free version. If you want to use some of the other features, there's Adobe Podcast AI, which is free, and you can isolate a voice using that, which works pretty well. Another version is the linear grade. So if we go back to the color page, and let's say we don't have a depth map, we'll go back to this bottom clip here. I put a linear power window on here. So if I reset this grade one more time, let's say like the depth map, if we were using depth map, it will automatically determine where the far and near limits are. So if we put that on, we can see here we have whatever's close is white, whatever's further away is gray, and whatever's far away is black. Let's go ahead and kill that. And let's say we wanted to do something similar. I'm going to go to the power windows again, and I'm going to turn on this gradient here. Now, right now, you can see on our preview window, if we go Shift H to highlight it, here's where the line is. So anything to the left of the green line is going to be affected, and it's going to taper off, and anything right here in the gray part will not be affected. We could always invert that if we needed to. I'm going to shut off the highlight, and let's just say we wanted to darken this edge. We could maybe bring our gamma down a little bit just to take the focus off this side of the screen so we can see if we go before and after. There's a nice smooth gradient here, and that's what our highlight is doing. So that's a way you can kind of fake the depth map. So I'm going to shut that off. Another thing is halation. Now, if I add another node here and we look up halation, I can drop that on and we'll pay attention to the bright part of the lights here. So here's on and off. You can see we're getting sort of an exaggerated glow here around the light, and it's also bringing up the redness quite a bit. So let's delete that, and I'm going to use Glow. So Glow is a free plugin. If we just look up here again, Glow, I'm going to drop that on. Now you can even grab your qualifier here and pick the brightest part of your image. And as you can see, as soon as I do that, it's going to pop that out. Now you can still add a secondary glow. You can change the filter to give it more of a different color lighting if we wanted it more like what the other one was doing. Get it into the red a bit here. And now we have a similar effect on just the lighting. You can always add a secondary glow too, which kind of exaggerates it even more, and you can change the spread on it. Will sort of be the ambient light. So not bad for a free plugin. Between that and say the free film grain, you can get a real studio look without having to mess around with the studio cost and the extra plugins. There's workarounds for a handful of them. All right, so that's a handful of workarounds for the new Resolve. The fact that you can export in 4K still, re-encode your videos to work with something that'll play back smoother, use the sharpen tool, your power windows, your dialog isolator, or the glow, all that kind of stuff. There's workarounds so you don't have to feel like you're missing out if you don't own Studio. All right, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next video.